Hey, Dylan!
Yes?
You know what time it is?
It's Scare Your Friends time.
Ah! Hi, Scared Nate! Welcome to Scare Your Friends, everybody. He really was scared. Oh, man. Wow, that audio spike. That's going to be hard to fucking edit. Holy shit, look at that.
You want to do that again?
No, fuck that. That's good. Welcome to Scare Your Friends, the only podcast on the internet that scares you more than your friends. I'm joined
What are you blind, damn it?
These are getting fucking worse.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly, they're getting
terrible.
more every time it gets worse.
What does that mean? What do you mean worse?
Like the intros are just awful.
I think I'm going.
How about
God.
you start it then?
I'm here
Too
with...
late now.
Well, we're here with Dylan.
Hi.
Hey, Dylan.
Huh?
Want us to do this same thing as last time, huh? You're just going to keep saying hi?
Hi, John. How are you?
Hello, John.
What have you been up to lately, Dylan? Everyone wants to know.
Overwatch.
Dan!
Yes.
Yourself, how are you today?
In a dresser.
I'm doing okay.
What have you been up to, man? Just, you know.
Fucking just working.
Listen, they haven't heard you in like a couple of weeks. That's why, I've been talking to
Technically,
you.
yes.
That's how it is.
Well, I hope everyone, all you sexy ladies and gentlemen, are doing good out there. But yeah, nothing really new.
For those who don't know, Dan's been locked in his room, sanding down his wizard staff.
Yeah, man.
And
that's
That could be misconstrued
That's
into
not-
something
not-
else.
No, that's
not
not
what you're
a-
thinking.
That's not a pun. We're going to Rent Fair soon. I gotta get my costume ready, yo.
Oh, the nerdiest of nerds. I might go to it, though. So.
You
should.
You need to buy your ticket now, then, son.
I guess so.
That would be the Renaissance Fair in Tuxedo, New York. The New York Renaissance Fair. Have fun and bring friends.
To scare.
We are not sponsored, but they do have a Halloween thing there, too.
Oh, cool. All right, I'm also joined by Nate. Sorry about scaring you, Nate. I know you're really terrified. You actually, I wish we had face cam just for that one bit because you really were like kind of scared. Like he kind of flinched back in his chair. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I just, believe it or not, after the whole thing with Dylan, like with Bob Ross and stuff, I had no idea what the fuck was going on.
No.
So I actually for the first time ever have watched Bob Ross like a few weeks ago. And
Oh
I
my
love
God.
it.
Yeah!
I fucking love it.
This is skillfully changing one life at a time.
buddy!
It was great. I watched it with a bunch of bandmates and stuff. Oh my god!
How
We sat
awesome
through
is it?
3 episodes. It was amazing.
I know!
When he waxed the brush, it's like it's amazing. I did fucking
And the way he
talks about his pets.
Talk
and
about the
shit.
way he talks.
Dude, he's literally talking. I got
three
pet
have
gypsy
no
little
right.
squirrel
Shut up,
over here.
Dylan. Wait, hold on, Nate.
we're gonna
Explain
beat
what
the
Bob
devil out
Ross
of the
sounded
bush.
like right now.
He sounds like if you. I can't even. I'm literally trying to
I
picture
know,
like an
it's hard.
orange
I
or something,
know.
but I can't.
It's
It doesn't-
God's voice.
Yes, basically. If he
Yeah.
was human, that's him.
Yeah.
That's just the only way to put it.
I'm not saying Bob Ross is God, but God does ask him for
But I've
advice
never seen
sometimes.
Bob Ross and God.
If he's not a god, then he is my alien. Holy crap.
Oh, man.
He's on an island with Tupac somewhere,
Yo, Jesus.
painting him pictures and just chilling him the fuck
Beautiful
out.
sunset.
He doesn't
And
even
Dylan
try.
is just in
Anyway,
absolute
welcome to
agony.
Painting with Your Friends podcast.
You do not get to say anything about Bob Ross to me until
Why?
you've painted something.
No, I don't.
What
no,
does that- what
no,
does that have
I
You
to
have
do
to
with
paint
it?
I
something.
can enjoy art,
No,
Dylan. I
paint
can
something
enjoy
first.
art, Dylan.
Paint something and
I
then
will-
come back to me.
I will. So today
I
on
will
this
take back
podcast,
everything I said. Once you paint
shut your mouth. Okay?
I want you.
Just throw a fucking pillow at me.
This is getting out of control.
Jesus Christ.
John,
told
need
you.
to
John, I
like,
want
comment,
you-
and subscribe.
I want you to. I want you to draw a fucking masterpiece. I want you to watch all 20 seasons of painting.
I want.
If you paint a masterpiece, I will shut
Wait,
up and I will
wait.
say Bob
John,
Ross is a golden
wait,
guy.
I want
wait.
Bob Ross to draw a picture of you and he just draws a turd. And it's the most beautiful looking turd in the
He
world.
paints my
John,
draws.
Are you?
stupid.
He's actually standing up, by the way. He's getting
John,
really upset.
I would like for you to draw a painting of Bob Ross drawing Dylan drawing the turd. I mean, wow, that doesn't make any sense at all. But just draw Bob Ross. Can you do
Bob
that
Ross
for
doesn't
me?
draw turds. He draws beautiful
He
landscapes.
paints them.
Well, you know,
Jesus
he can make
Christ,
he can
people.
make the turd a landscape.
It's just the repeat.
Dude,
of
haven't
it.
you never seen the fucking show?
Obviously, you
and
haven't
chill,
if you're saying
bro.
he draws.
I watch that shit religiously every night. I go to sleep watching that shit. That's my jam. That's my fucking
That's his
jam.
jam.
We're
After 4.5 minutes, we haven't even said what we're
Just
reading.
completely off the
So
rails.
basically, I'm not gonna even try to describe it because you
We're
can see it in the
reading-
titles. It's string theory.
I love the
It's
intro,
fucking
guys.
string theory.
The intro's the best.
So today, the creepypasta title is string theory.
Strings like on a paintbrush and the bristles. That Bob Ross uses.
there. You
Man.
psycho.
So I want everyone to spam Dylan's I guess, YouTube account or Facebook if you can find them. With just Bob Ross fucking memes if you can. Just
You'll
fucking
never find them. I'll help you. Do it on my Twitter, please.
I don't understand
Moving
why.
Hazard.
I just don't understand why you hate him.
Follow Dylan at Moving Hazard.
Moving_hazard.
But in any case, yeah, I don't want to really say too much about this story. I think in science there is a actual thing.
There
called
is.
string. I don't know what it is though. That's the problem.
Yeah, I don't.
Right.
I'm vaguely. I'm not a science kid.
Neither am I.
So I
Comic
vaguely
book,
remember.
you're a loser.
Comic book
Does one of you
movies.
actually want to look up string theory right now? Just like in general?
I will.
You want to do it,
Oh,
Dylan?
like-
Okay. So basically today we are reading a story on the Creepypasta on the main website, creepypasta.com. It is rated a 9.1 out of 10. So, you know...
We'll be the judge of
that's
that.
pretty good.
Pumpkins
I have the
or
definition. We'll be the judge of that.
It's 9.1 pumpkins out of
we
10.
are the fucking. We are judge, jury, and execution.
We're
of
the
these
best
stories.
fucking podcast ever.
The best.
Yes.
One of the best creepypasta.
I have the
podcasts.
Not at all.
The definitive.
I
Okay.
have the definition.
Okay.
In physics, string theory is a theoretical framework in which the point-like particles of particle physics are replaced by one-dimensional objects called strings. It describes how these strings propagate through space and interact with each other.
That did not help at all.
Exactly. My thoughts exactly.
It's a Big Bang theory.
Nate, I told you after episode 3 to never burp again.
Did a chunk fall onto the mic?
Don't talk about it. They don't know about it. They don't have to know.
Can we read some actual?
Yeah, we'll read.
All right.
Burp into the
Can we
damn
read
mic.
some
You know what? I'm going to
String
switch it
theory?
up a bit because my throat's actually really dry. So I'm going to actually ask Dan to start reading it.
Oh, word.
Because Dan's a really good reader.
Can we? Thanks, man.
I suck.
Can we read H.P. Lovecraft at some point?
Why not? Sure.
He counts. He's actually in the app. I found the Call of Cthulhu. Anyway,
So this is String Theory. Let me find the authur's name real
it's
quick.
Tesla.
Is that his name?
Yeah, Tesla.
All right, so this is String Theory by
I
Tesla.
scored to the bottom and read the end, John. I'm just letting you know. I'm just joking.
What's all this? Dan, Dylan! What's the hell in motion?
If you were behind the mic, you would see a bunch of hands.
I'm trying to not tell it.
Have you ever had an experience that suggested someone else was in your house and just thought, I don't want to know, and left it? Sometimes fear of the unknown just seems like the preferable option than facing a real concrete danger. Normally it's nothing, though. One time, the beeper function on my wireless house phone went off when I was the only one home. It could only be called from the living room. Another time, I swear someone took change from my desk. They're all probably just slightly disconcerting tricks of memory. But what would you do when something truly suggestive happens? Would you run or just ignore it like I did? Well, already this narrator's a fucking idiot. Just as a personal aside, I remember when I was a kid, I was home alone one night, or during the day. It was like the middle of the day.
How old are you?
And
Sorry.
my
You have a call. I don't
TV
know.
my TV faced the hallway behind me. And I remember watching TV and turning it off, and I shit you not, I could have swore I saw someone walk past me in the hallway, but like in the reflection of the TV.
Belinda
And I
Orton.
shit. Belinda Orton. And I almost shit my
Dylan's
pants.
face
And I
was
ran
so
over and
bad.
closed the door, and just like I refused to leave my room until my parents got home.
And I heard this noise coming from the kitchen. Just saying,
Lumberjack
oh my
Dan,
god, what the
lumberjack."
fuck is going on?
What?
God!
What is going
Oh
on?
my god.
Last Monday was a normal day. I got up, brushed my teeth, changed into school clothes, all little parts of my morning ritual. It seemed like it would be another totally unnoteworthy day until I saw the strings.
Ooh, shit.
No strings
What else?
attached.
There are no strings on me. Oh, go ahead, Dill.
There were 3 or 4 thick twine strings in my room. They crisscrossed between the walls, around my bed, one attached to the door. No way would I have missed them before. I should have tripped over them. They were tied to pins in the walls, which had also not existed before 10 seconds ago. What a bad prank. Nobody could have been in my room. Nobody could have been in my room while I was in it, let alone set this up. It was early, and my brain wasn't processing correctly. I simply discredited the site, untied the strings, and left for school, leaving them balled up on my desk. It didn't get any better later. Outside my house, there were hundreds of them, tied between houses, around cars, across streets. This had to be some super elaborate prank, one of those hidden camera shows, or a comedy improv blog. They had gotten everyone else to play along too. Passerbys were tangled in them, tying them to objects they were walking towards and away from, as if they had been and were continuing to follow the course laid out for them.
So what's happening is he wakes up and there's just a bunch of strings everywhere. He unties a few of them and then he goes outside, just hundreds of strings, people tied to strings, and they're moving along a set path of strings.
Okay.
Seems to me like it's Like, you know how they have people, detectives, like, they have the string on the newspaper? They link
Yeah.
it to someone else, and it's like, this person lives in that world. Like, okay, we're going to go down this path right here.
Well, just from what I'm gathering now, it seems like he's seeing like things that are preordained, like the paths that people have to take. Because I think that's part of string theory, but I'm not.
I don't
sure
think
again.
I don't think this is anything to do with the science term.
If there's
probably
any
not.
scientists, we apologize for any misconstruing we
don't know.
Dylan,
Sorry,
don't you
Albert
dare! No
Einstein.
scientist is gonna watch this.
No
We're idiots.
self-respecting scientist is going
What
to.
about aspiring scientists?
Maybe that.
Well, if the Russian sleep experiment didn't push them away, then I don't know what will.
Once again, we're sorry. Yeah.
Where were we? Nobody? Okay. Nobody could have been in my room.
No.
I really screwed that
This
up.
just in,
nervously
John wasn't
continued
paying
my
attention.
Did you hear how like confidently I read that?
Yeah,
I nervously.
fucking totally beefed it.
I nervously continued my journey to school. On the bus, every I think that means everyone except me was tied to the door. At school, groups of friends were tied to each other. Teachers were tied to their desk and boards. Oddly enough, at this point, all I could wonder was why I had been left out. When my friend Lucy sat beside me in first period, she simply plucked her bag down on my lap and rested her chin in her hand, looking right past me to the window outside. Hey, Lucy. No response. Come on, I didn't expect you to be on this. Sorry, come on. I didn't expect you to be in on this too. She sighed and started taking books from her bag. All the books were tied to her hands. I grinned and yanked one of the strings off a book. She didn't seem to notice, instead simply disregarding the book completely, letting it drop to the floor without a moment's hesitation. I leaned down, picking up the book and placing it on her desk. She still took no notice.
This is very interesting.
It's weird.
Yeah, this is
I'm more interested in the fact that the protagonist here is like can see things that other people can't. Like he's stuck in this realm right now where he sees how everything's grouped right now. Like,
and also when the moment that something gets untied to her, she just doesn't.
She lets it go.
It doesn't exist anymore. Basically,
It almost seems like he's like already. He's just in a dream.
he's playing God.
Yeah,
That's what it sounds like. It's like he's right there. He knows what's
only
attached to
Bob
what.
Ross.
There was only Ross.
Bob Ross is tying the strings.
Plot twist.
String on this mountain.
Well, that's how we're gonna play it. I smiled at trying to look playful, but really just trying to hide my nervousness. I bundled all the strings attached to her together and with one hand, then pulled them all free. She blinked, turning to stare at me. Holy crap, Martin, you're like a ninja or something. I've been sitting here for maybe 10 minutes. I smiled again, relieved my friend had finally noticed me. Where did all these strings come from? She gasped, seemingly noticed for the first time. I assumed you were all fucking with me. She stood up, backing into a corner. No one else in the class noticed. They weren't here just a minute ago. Do you see them too? Her tone made it clear she was genuinely scared. No, didn't you? I was interrupted by my teacher slamming the door behind her. Everyone except me and Lucy murmured and good morning, and still no one seemed to pay either of us a notice.
Let's see. Wait, I think I lost my plot.
I got it.
We wandered the corridors.
No, people have been ignoring me all day.
Okay.
I said to Lucy before turning to our teacher, "Hey, dumb bitch, you can't teach for shit."
Oh my lord.
No reaction.
Well, there you go.
I'm getting away from all this shit. Lucy pulled a few strings aside and left the class. I followed, and surprise, surprise, no one else noticed. We wandered the corridors, leaving and entering classes as we saw fit. Whenever we untied a chair or book from someone else, it was like it suddenly didn't matter to them. It didn't exist.
I showed her the street outside. There were more strings than when I came in this morning, twice as many. We carefully picked our way through the tangle, making our way to the nearby coffee shop. Not particularly grand, I know, but what would you do in our situation? As I said, fear of the unknown sometimes seems like the safer option. On a few occasions, I suggested we untie a few more people. Lucy was supposed to have remembered how terrified she'd been. In the coffee shop, we grabbed a couple of sandwiches and drinks from the fridge. We found a table, untied all the strings attached to the chairs, and sat them down. We both ate in silence, both of us too scared, both of us distracting ourselves by watching the strangers in the shop, oblivious to the strings. After 20 minutes, Lucy spoke up. Now she's going to take that sandwich, she said, pointing at the woman across the shop. Sure enough, she walked to the fridge and took the plastic-wrapped sandwich she was tied to. She pays for it and leaves. She did so according to the prophecies of the strings. That guy doesn't intend to pay. I watched as the man took his coffee and ran out of the store, the two servers just looking too exasperated to go after him.
Wow.
This here is it's a really cool concept. Very interesting.
It says predetermined, like, yeah.
Yeah, but it's something really different, and it's cool.
Yeah.
It's really it's a different concept, but it's working very well.
Science fiction, creepypasta.
Oh my god, this is horrible. I'm kidding.
Oh, jeez.
Get out.
This is horrible, she whispered. Let's go, please. Outside wasn't much better. Everyone just followed the string's instructions. Going about their daily lives, Lucy announced that she was going home to sleep this off, and I agreed to walk her home. She only lived 10 minutes away. Away from the busier part of town, there were fewer strings. It was nicer, we could pretend it wasn't happening. When we turned onto Lucy Street, she stopped, her mouth falling open. What now? I broke the silence, my voice sounding surprisingly small. Look. She pointed at one of the neighbors' houses. I saw it clearly, and I'll take my memory of that moment till the day I die. A little dark imp, maybe 3 feet tall, walking along with its knuckles to the ground, almost like a monkey. It had 2 bulbous yellow eyes, taking up about half of its face, and no mouth or any other facial features. It was holding a hammer and a ball of twine, which it was letting out behind it. So this is a little. So when Dan showed me, like, is this the right story? And it was a little.
Oh yeah,
the little gerbil thingy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there actually is a lot of, unlike Lost Episodes, there was a lot of fan art for String Theory. There's a lot of concept art for it. But yeah, this is what do you think about this? Is this a little bit too much? Like, are you disappointed that it's like a little monster walking around? But it's not like a terrifying, it's like a little 3-foot dude.
I can't tell if I like the story or not.
I
started liking it, and then it got into the Harry Potter realm. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I need to
finish
the story.
Yeah, now you're slowly just getting off.
Like, is the monster going to be terrifying, or is it going to be just a...
Bob Ross.
It's just like one of those old little hermit.
It looks like Nate, honestly.
You need to...
Oh my
Slow your
god.
rolls.
Hey, what are you doing with that ball of twine? What are you doing?
I'm ruining your life.
Oh my god.
Like, it's like one of those, these old imps. He's been doing it for years, and no one's just noticed until now.
It is very Harry Potter-y.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
The bubbles.
Alright,
Yeah, it's very out of the blue. It was like...
It's like also now, like, oh, there's this little guy.
Keep in mind this is a short story, so he is gonna...
Yeah.
Rush it.
Yeah.
Nate.
Not rush it, but maybe...
Alright, Nathaniel.
That's not my name. It walked quietly and quickly and quietly from the front door of the house to the mailbox. It stopped, hammered a nail into the side of the box, and tied its string around it. It turned to face us and stopped when it spotted us. My bottom fell out even further than it did already been, but it just stared with a look of surprise and curiosity. You could almost say it was the more frightened one. Suddenly, I beckoned to us with its tiny hand.
It beckoned, yeah. It
my bad.
gestured.
Yeah. I looked at Lucy. She hadn't moved. I looked back at the imp, which stared at me. I halved the distance between us, and then it halved it again. This wasn't fear of the unknown anymore. It was fear of this little guy. Didn't seem like anything to be scared of. When I was a meter away from it, it extended its hand.
I'm just curious right now, if you were in this narrator's shoes and you were in this situation, would you, and the little imp thing that's, to be fair, only like 3 feet tall maybe, has wide eyes, not really any threatening features on it, except maybe the hammer, and it starts to slowly beckon towards you. Would you go
Big
towards
eyes
it?
No, I'd find the glass bottle, break the glass bottle, put it behind my back, and just in case it comes after me.
You wouldn't go near it?
No.
Well,
No, it's too fucking creepy.
Yeah,
As soon as this
because
little guy
the
gets
thing
to-
is, right, it's one thing if it's just a monster, but it's another thing if it's a monster that's almost a little self-aware. And it's like it knows to take its little hands and go like, here.
Well, it sees them.
Yeah.
Which automatically
It has
you
hands
know
and
that it's
eyes. It doesn't have any
it's-
facial features. It's hands and
part.
eyes.
And, like right now, the story is playing out like as soon as the narrator and Lucy go right towards him,
Yeah.
he's gonna take the hammer and the twine and nail him right in the back.
I have to put him back on the strings.
Back on the strings. Back on the strings.
Back on the strings with you.
All right.
Do you want
Who's...
to take over?
Okay.
Okay.
Hi. I shook it. It nodded in approval, blinking its massive yellow eyes up at me. So you're the ones in charge of the strings. It nodded eagerly. I called Lucy over, but she stayed where she was. There are more of you? Another nod. I wanted to ask it so many questions about what it was and where it came from, but it seemed for now I was stuck with only yes or no. Do we even have free will? It just looked at me, almost sadly.
Oh.
I immediately felt sick to my stomach and couldn't bear looking at the little monster anymore. I grabbed Lucy, who had been listening to our exchange, and now sat on the curb with her head in her hands. Come on. We entered her house, and I made her a cup of tea. When I found her in the living room, she had untied her dog and was curled up with it, crying. I set the tea down and sat beside her.
I like how it's just such a casual thing. Like, oh, you know, she went in the living room, she untied the dog, and started cuddling with it.
This is like that comic you were reading.
It's on time.
I'm so scared, she whispered after a good 10 minutes of sobbing. I didn't answer. I couldn't.
I'm going to sleep, she mumbled suddenly, and it was within the minute. Sleep was starting to sound pretty good all of a sudden. My eyelids suddenly felt like they were being weighed down. I collapsed to the rug, and the last thing I heard before I fell asleep was the scurrying of several sets of little feet nearby.
Oh, God.
I felt much better the next day, as if the whole affair had been a dream. I probably believed that if I hadn't been awoken by Lucy's mother that morning, wondering what I was doing, sleeping over without permission or something. Over breakfast, Lucy asked me why I looked so pale and nervous. I turned to her and smiled, mumbling something to her about feeling sick. But the truth was, I was scared because I couldn't see any strings, and was wondering whether my actions were truly my own.
Okay, so this did remind me of Sex Criminals a little bit.
Yes, I was saying that.
There's a comic book out by Matt Fraction, who had a run on Hawkeye, which was excellent. He's writing a comic book right now. It's still running, called Sex Criminals,
Right.
and it's about a couple who freezes time when they orgasm and they decide. To
Oh,
rob
you
banks.
said, yeah, you told me about
And it's
this.
fucking awesome. Anyway,
So
I-
just to point this out, this story was written in 2010. This is a new comic.
Sex Criminals is relatively
Okay, so
new,
it's
yeah.
not gonna.
But I didn't like the story until the end,
Okay.
and I think it's.
I mean, it's pretty short, so you know.
right, and I think it's because I think if I knew more about string theory, but I feel like it is about predetermination.
I don't
Yeah,
think
pretty-
the actual
pretty
scientific term has anything to do with this.
I think it might. Just I think this is sort of
Wanna
like
bring
a
in the
metaphor.
definition again, Dylan.
That was more
Bring
of
the
like,
definition again.
that was more of a really abstract.
Do some
look up
research on
more,
it. I don't
yeah.
know. But anyway, I like the story. I genuinely.
I did until the end because it's like this person, this Martin kid gets a glimpse of basically he has the curtain pulled back.
Yeah, you see, it's
right?
behind the scenes.
And he
almost
sees,
like the seeing the fourth wall.
right, and that's fucking terrifying. Like, what if you could actually see? I mean, this is this is taken in a literal sense, but it's like a metaphor of like being. What if you could see the world for what it is, or see everybody's fate or destiny or whatever? And that's
I think it would be.
terrifying.
I'm happy with its length. I do think that in a lot of cases, short is better. I think the Smiling Man is a great example of that.
For this, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, because you're saying you liked it at the end, but really that's all it really is.
We just wanted to know how it ended, and I think this ended as logically as humanly possible. And I feel like Lucy doesn't remember either.
Again, we always joke about how it was all a dream is a bad ending, but it could be in this story I could accept that, because if it is a dream, or because the horror is, the horror or the creepiness of most creepypastas is the lack of knowing, the lack of knowledge,
Okay.
the lack of what it is.
So this does have to do with
Science.
string theory.
Okay.
Basically,
Scientist Dylan.
the whole.
And welcome to Science Corner
Science
with
Corner.
Bob
Ross.
Dylan. All right,
Just fucking
okay,
so let's go.
So basically, string theory is it's basically like the strings of matter, of mass, don't quote me on this, people who are actually looking this up right now.
Actual
But it's basically
scientists.
like what we actually do. Like it's all preordained.
Right. This
Okay.
is what. Yeah. That's exactly what this is.
All right, yeah,
learning
there you go.
what we do, of what we do and whether or not we actually do have free will.
This is like
Like what we're doing now, is it preordained?
Right.
Or is it
We're
us
preordained
doing
to do this podcast.
Because again, one of the things.
John's
Okay, in
the
that
little
case, then I like the story even more because for people who really like
it's a metaphor.
who know what string theory is, when they read the premise of the story, they're gonna roll their eyes. Like it's like, oh, let me talk about string theory and the metaphor of actual strings.
Right.
That's like, oh, how lazy
Right,
is
it
that?
sounds-
It's like,
it
oh,
sounds
yeah,
cheap,
It sounds
yeah.
cheap. But when you get, it has a lot of I don't know how to really say this. I guess potential to be scary. Like I think it'd be really real. I think something really terrifying would be if they were walking down the street and they have like a car that's like slowly, like I don't know.
I knew exactly what you were going to say.
Like it's
before you even said
driving,
it.
but like the car,
Somebody's
it's attached to
in
like
the
a
way.
tree.
Oh yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
attached
yeah.
to a tree, and they're like, "Let's just go."
Fuck.
Yeah.
I think if you really sit down and think about the story, like really process what happens in it, I think it's one of the scariest fucking things ever. Because you're seeing, because basically, like he says at the end, are my actions my own? And
Am
it's
I
like if you
controlling it?
like you're looking, if you're looking through the looking glass or behind the curtain and you see this and you believe it's real, then you can't stop fate. Like everything's preordained.
You're looking
So
at
you're
the
basically
future.
going like you're going through the motions.
Yeah.
Here's
You're
the
basically
other-
a husk
Well,
of
like,
a human because
when you- when-
you're free. There's no such thing as free will.
Like when you see
Don't
the
go.
scene they describe when they're in the shop,
Yeah,
like how everything was attached and stuff.
and she was able to call what was going to happen.
Yeah,
right?
he was able to call what was happening,
Right.
and then all of a sudden, like the guy with the coffee didn't have like the string on it. It's like, oh, he was gonna steal it. It's
Yeah,
like, that wasn't preordained and stuff. It's like I do that stuff all the time.
That's crazy.
So what am I? So if that's happening to them, is that really happening to us? And we're just not seeing the person behind the strings?
right. Like
That's
the
true.
puppet master.
Yeah.
Here's the other. I also find think about the series of events. He talks to the imp. He realizes there's no free will, and the imp is like saddened by it. Like he actually kind of feels bad.
Yeah,
Like, he's like, oh shit.
He's like, do we even have such a thing as free will? He's like, not really.
Honestly,
he looks really sad.
I looked at it as like, are you fucking kidding me? You wanna? I'll put you up there. Like that's what I was thinking.
No, but I think I think there is something beyond the meaning that is scary in this story, and that is after he talks to this imp, they all go in the house, and it's early in the morning. They must have woken up only a few hours ago. They can't possibly feel that tired. And all of a sudden, after speaking to this imp, all of a sudden sleep just sounds
Because
like
it's
the
a total
greatest.
mind fuck. That's
Yeah.
No,
not-
it's just sleep. Just he even
Oh,
says in
yeah,
this.
you're right.
He even says in the story, all of a sudden my eyelids just felt heavy, and I just
Like
went
they-
to sleep right on the floor.
they did
And
it,
as
yeah.
he's going to sleep, you hear
He
these
hears
tiny little feet skirting around,
Yeah.
almost like the floor manager is like, "What the fuck did you
Yeah.
do? Who fucked up?"
It was a setup. Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, we gotta fix this before the boss gets back.
Put the strings back on him.
Oh
Put
my
him in his
god,
butt.
I'll never get home by 8.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I didn't like this story until the end when everything sort of came together. It was very neat.
But for a short story, that's a good thing.
Right.
I mean,
And this is you compared it to the Smiling Man before. The Smiling Man's believable because it's very.
I was
real.
only comparing it to length.
It's right.
Because
well,
I'm talking about how there's not
But this is
something like this doesn't need a lot of build up.
right, and
Smiling doesn't
this
need
is
a lot
in
of
response to that. It's the same length, but it's a very different feel and different type of story, but it still works very well.
Like I was
Because
saying,
it's like a vignette.
even on something like the House of Death Forgot, I was even saying how I know. Hold on, I liked the idea of it, but it was too long.
Triggered.
Yeah, but I liked. I actually was. No, I'll talk about it later. But
Nate still has not listened to that podcast, and I think we need to sit him down and make him listen to it.
You want to
I'd rather watch Bob
Yes.
Ross.
I'd rather watch Bob Ross.
you know what? I can't even argue with that.
Do you
Cinema.
think? Oh my God! Could you imagine? It all comes full circle. You're watching Bob Ross, and there's just strings attached to his hand pulling the paintbrush.
Oh my god.
It isn't. He isn't the great artist.
Well,
It's
then
the
all
imp.
I would
shut your mouth.
No, I would put a positive twist on this and think, who the fuck is that imp?
Who is that masterful?
Who is
imp?
that masterful imp?
He's like the imp. Like you look down and the imp has an afro too.
Okay, real quick. Okay, other question about the story. What do you think of Lucy? What do you think of Lucy's role in the story?
What?
it was more of like.
Is it a good thing that she was there, or would it have been better if Martin was just on his own?
I don't think it adds.
No, I think
it
was good because it showed that it wasn't just him that was seen as it was the fact that he wasn't going. He wasn't crazy.
I agree.
Lucy
you can also
knew too.
You can also I forgot what I was going to say now. You can also free people. You could free other people.
You can give other people free will.
They free each other, and it's like, you know what?
But why them?
But when you give them free will, they get terrified.
Well, that's
what happened to Lucy.
But because that's what they think they have, and then when you see that you don't, that's what makes it worse. And when you think about it, going back to what you said before about the imp being sad or whatever, I think like what if to me it's like the imp is sad because he feels like if you had no, I don't think he feels bad. I think if the imp feels like if you had he's like, you don't want free will. It's like, it's better this way, because what if, like, I don't know, I'm reaching, but like if there was a they didn't exist forever ago, these imps, and like human beings actually had free will, and it was a fucking disaster, and these things had to like create order.
They had to create order, society.
Okay, how about another
String theory 2.
Say the people
the stringing.
No, say the people who were involved with World War II.
Okay.
Had free will.
And
that's what caused World War II.
The Russian sleep experiment.
Say Hitler wasn't controlled by strings.
Okay.
And that ended up.
That's fair.
No, he would be absolutely no. If Hitler wasn't in control of strings, he would be terrified, because he'd be like, "What the actual? Why are there strings attached to all my followers? Are these? Oh my God, we're gonna lose the war. The strings are telling me we're gonna lose the war."
No, but that's
No. But I'm saying though, like, he had free will. That way, he got his whole country. He broke the strings for his whole country.
Yeah, but what's
maybe geniuses are off the strings. Maybe they know.
But what's more fucked up? He was off the strings and he did it, or if he was on the strings? Because when you think about it, these things control who lives and who dies.
Yes.
And who's good and who's evil.
Right.
These imps are supposed to control Mother Teresa and Hitler.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell are
They
they?
control everything. It's crazy.
Maybe they're just emotional. I mean, but they feel sadness.
This is getting really deep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They feel,
that's what's interesting too.
I've heard people say that, in response to something like that, like, well, maybe they're just emotional. Like, maybe they're just, they're emotionally, biased. Like, they don't care. They don't feel emotion. But they feel sad.
Right. They feel something, but this is still, like, their job, their responsibility.
They're not scary, but, like, when you think about what they can do and what, like, based on world history and what's happened, like, I mean, seriously, what imp was in charge that day when they said, what would be a good idea? Slavery. That's a great... What?
Yeah.
These fucked up little things are, like...
But again, this is all part of string theory. If this is all preordained... Is there an end game? Is there a final goal? What does that lead to? And this reminds me of the multiple universe theory, where every choice you make
affects something else.
But also, say, I pick up my water bottle right now and take a drink. That's a choice. In an alternate universe, I don't do that, and it just keeps splitting off infinitely forever.
Yeah. What imp is in charge of this podcast?
You would be the imp.
Oh my God.
You would be
the imp controlling John.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you want to be the imp?
It's the skill imp.
Like, I feel worse for I don't know what I feel worse for, because when you really think about what these things can do and what they have done, assuming this is in the real world.
Right.
I don't know, like, it's not like it's easy to focus on the bad, but there's a lot of good. I guess. What the fuck?
Yeah, but you say that, but like what Dan was saying before. So, but it's predetermining who gets killed and who doesn't get killed. So you're saying that, if someone who's on the strings ends up being a killer, that was preordained, and that
how is it determined that somebody ends up being a serial killer and who ends up being like a Nobel Peace Prize?
Okay, and that's
winner.
part of it, because this is all part of the horror. Because if you imagine if you're Martin and this happens to you, for the rest of your life, you question everything. If you believe that this is true. What are these things? Why are they here? How long have they been controlling people? Who decides exactly what you're asking?
And then the worst
part.
And
am I still in control of my actions in choosing to see them, or after I saw them, or am I fucked?
Also, the other thing is, did that really happen? Because it's such an unbelievable thing. And also, he might grow like this. Again, this is these are children. They're in grade school. Like, clearly, they're in grade school.
Well, I don't. No,
I think
but
they're
grade
all-
school, but
when
maybe
you-
Oh no, they're in a
First
coffee
semester?
shop. No, you're fine. You're right. Maybe they're like high school then.
I would say middle school, high school. Yeah.
I would say
Yeah.
high school.
No.
Still, I don't know. I think I kind of. Nah, never mind then. I was
And
going to
it's
say
just-
that maybe when they grow up, because you have distant memories from
Right.
your middle school. Like it's like, did that really happen?
I know.
Like if you go to a psychologist, what imp is going to be controlling that?
Yeah.
Like, oh no, there were no imps, and the imp is just like behind, like, no, there were no imps.
No. But like he says at the beginning, he chooses to ignore it. He goes,
Well, the thing is, right? I like the reaction of
Right.
what happens. Like, I like that. I would hate this story, or I wouldn't hate it, but I would be more disappointed in the story if the two of them woke up and they were like, oh, "Where's the strings?"
yeah.
Because the real reaction of Lucy and him would be to not talk about it. Like they both act like it didn't happen, but they're both too scared to really bring it up. Like.
And it doesn't
what?
seem like Lucy remembers, just based on that last
Or
paragraph.
does she remember and she's not
She's
bringing
just
it up?
ignoring
Because he also remembers, but he doesn't let Lucy know he remembers. What if Lucy's doing the same thing?
That's true.
Why wouldn't Lucy remember, but he will? But he does, I mean.
That's
Well,
true.
maybe she can remember it, but she just refuses to.
Some Lovecraft
And here's
shit,
some
where
meta
your brain
shit
can't
right-
process something.
Here's the meta part.
Yeah.
This experience happens to Martin. He goes online and writes this. Is that hit? Like,
Right.
is that the
right.
imps controlling him
Right.
to write about how he saw the imps?
Do you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of the Grister story as well.
The Gristers?
The other
I've
the
heard
other
that story.
creepypasta.
Mm.
The one with they feed on fear, but it's the same kind of thing. Nobody can see.
Maybe
them
we'll
until-
cover that one. I'm not gonna say my
We
theory
should.
on that
The only
one,
reason
but-
why I know about that was because it's the one that Midnight Marinade did, where they shouted us out. So I watched it.
Oh yeah, well,
But that
yeah.
one was interesting too. It's very similar to this story.
Mm.
But yeah, it's like, where do these imps come from? And like they feel emotions, but they're still sort of going through the motions. And it's like, are these imps controlled by something?
Nate, you haven't said a lot. I want to know.
His brain. He looks
His
like his
brain-
brain is melting.
All right, Nate, what do you think?
No, I've been just laying back.
I feel like Sheldon from Big Bang Theory with string theory. He's like,
We do not bring up that garbage.
All right, go, Nate.
I just would like to know who the puppet master is. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking about like imps and stuff like that and all that. I feel like there's gotta, if he had more to the story, he could add like the guy who's controlling all of this.
I feel like that would ruin it though.
I think it would too. To
I
be
think it would.
honest.
But it would be a better. I don't know if it. I mean, because
I think what you want is you want closure.
And
I think you want closure.
answers, right?
I do.
But that's not what creepypasta is.
Pay no attention.
It's ambiguous as fuck.
Well,
That's
as
what it
a
is.
non-creepypasta
Pay no attention
fan,
to
Wow.
the man
I
behind
mean,
the curtain. That's what you want. You want the.
I mean,
That's
the
why I
wisdom
have
of-
Nate on this podcast, and William for that matter.
He just-
well, no, like not like a non.
I know I'm counting.
I mean, I'm not talking about like non-creepypasta fan. I mean, like I enjoy it, but like I'm not as into it as you are, so I wouldn't really know much about like non-ending, like a good closure or anything like that.
Seriously,
And this
I
is
think
what's
this-
what I want. That's what I desire.
I think that this story ends logically. I think if there was more to it, it would ruin it.
I think. I mean,
like what would the master be? A bigger imp,
Right.
like with a bigger hammer?
or
Like-
how about this?
I just
Could-
think-
or
could
who
be-
created these imps?
Or it could be God pulling the strings.
It's God
and sending
pulling
the
the
imps to
strings.
do this.
I don't know. I think that would kind of be.
Don't. Yeah, no.
We've talked about this multiple times, but a lot of these stories they have, and you're saying it now, the ambiguity. The best creepypastas ride that very, very, very thin line,
Mhm.
right, between having something that's believable or likable and just completely going off the fucking rails, batshit absurd.
And that's what this is.
And what this is. This rides that line perfectly.
At least
And
that's
there's a couple of stories that
it
have done
rides
it.
that string
It rides that string
perfectly.
There are a couple of stories that have done it, and there are a lot of stories that we read that haven't, that just veer off into insanity. And I think this is one of the stories that if there was more, it would ruin it.
Yep.
Because I was waiting for that. I was waiting for some gigantic twist, and it didn't happen, and I'm glad that it didn't.
Okay, so here's the other thing. Was the story haunting to us? Was there
I
any...
think it's very scary.
I think it's. I don't. This is my issue with Lucy. She's getting terrified. She's like, "Oh, this is so scary. Oh, this is so." I don't know if I would be scary. More like shocked.
No,
I don't know. I mean, like I would be terrified. Oh wait, I would be.
Because
But it
your
wouldn't
brain
be
wouldn't be able to
outright.
process that.
I don't know. I mean, there's a difference between being scared versus being
Everyone
silently terrified.
everyone would respond differently in that situation. I feel
Obviously,
like.
fair enough.
Because she's sitting on the curb, basically contemplating her entire what it means to exist, and that's a pretty big fucking question to
It's
try
like,
to process.
like, when are one of these imps gonna just make me die?
Right.
And
That's part
well,
of
the
it.
other thing that it falls into question when she was on it, once she got pulled off, she was like, "Where did all these people come from? Where?"
Well, no, she
She didn't She didn't see
That's
him.
actually the most terrifying because you're just sitting there and all of a sudden blink. She like blinks her eyes and strings,
Yeah.
and she's like, "What the
She
fuck?"
doesn't see right.
Like
it's sort of like
Yeah, but
everyone's
before-
like
but
her
a
reaction
like a
is-
zombie.
Yeah, but before, like when her reaction to it was, where did you come from? Where did all these people come from? Where did these strings come from?"
Well, she saw the
That-
people because they were attached to the strings, like she was.
Yeah.
she's just a zombie.
She's
Like you
when
can't
she's
see.
in the when you're in the strings, you don't see the strings, but you see everyone that's attached to the strings.
Yeah.
That's how you see them. You're attached to everybody. In some way, in some weird. There is one problem with this story.
How did Martin get off his strings?
No, there is one. No, there is
That's
one
what I
problem.
was about to say.
Right.
No, my problem is that there would be, if there were in a classroom, there'd be way too many fucking strings to walk around.
That's true.
That would be my only problem. But that's a very nitpicky
Yeah,
thing.
that is.
Yeah, but you based on what he's saying, you have to cut through all of them to free someone. So they can cut through a couple and nobody.
But if
would
you
know.
cut them, then are you cutting them off? Like what happens if you're walking
No,
along
he
a
already,
path?
he already said when you remove something, they forget it exists, so they can't see it
Oh,
anymore.
that's true.
So here's
Cut off
what I'm.
Cut it off the door. Oh, we're trapped.
No, but maybe that's what happens with memory loss. You say that's attached, like we have a string that's attached to
Actually-
a water bottle, and you're like, "Oh, I can't forget my water bottle." But then that string gets cut, and like you totally forget about it. Like, what was I
That's a
supposed to remember?
very
But
very.
that would
astute
just
point.
but I think that's implied that
No,
it
but
just
that's-
disappears. But that's a good idea.
That's
yes.
how the story opens, though.
Yeah.
Dylan's right, and it's
Yeah.
actually very.
So is
very
that-
good observation?
Is that his way of how like
like shit goes missing because the string gets cut?
Like, say you forget your phone.
Right.
You're like, I'm forgetting something, and you can't think of what it is.
the string gets cut.
The string got cut.
Wow.
So here's
Fucking smart man Dylan strikes again. Woo!
Yeah.
You're on a roll, son.
so here's
I'm intrigued. This is like my favorite.
Get him a
story.
lab coat.
This is your favorite one?
Yeah.
It's pretty
Really?
good.
I really like
Brandon
this one.
Smiling Man.
It's cerebral
Better
as
smiling man. I
fuck.
like this one.
so
Wow.
here's what I'm
That's a high
wondering.
rating.
I love this one.
As what Dan said, what is that? Never mind. What I was about to say. Why did he decide to be the one to get cut loose?
He didn't decide.
I don't
Well,
think he decided. He
It
woke
just
up.
okay. So here's another thing. If he's walking up to this
How?
imp and he's talking about like free will and all that, and he looks at him like, no, there can't be free will. He's standing in front of him asking that out of
Right.
free will. No,
Yeah, because he's free from the string.
He's free as free will now.
exactly. So
Yes.
well then the imp is there to make sure there isn't free will, right?
Well, yeah.
It's like they live.
So then what's the point? Like, so he's not doing his job.
I'll tell you. No, I'll
You know
tell you
what
what
I mean?
happened. This is my theory about what happened in string theory about why Martin's off the strings. These imps, they have a job to every single day after the day when everyone's asleep, they can attach the strings to people. What if the imp that was supposed to
was
attach
an
the strings to him,
oversight.
there was an oversight? They just forgot. These are imperfect creatures that feel sadness.
As
after all.
far as we know.
As
And
far as
they-
we know,
and-
these aren't perfect. We don't know if these are perfect.
And they
We don't know
have-
these aren't God.
And
these
they
are
have
creatures.
free
They could,
will.
Right.
they have free will, so they could fuck up. There's nothing
but
guiding them.
Do they though?
That's actually
Because
They clearly
Puppet
do.
master.
No, they fuck up.
do they? Though?
Yes, they do.
no.
How
it's
did Martin
not
get-
great.
Fucking
It's the
up,
only-
fucking up is not free will though. They're still based on
Yeah.
what we've read in the story.
Yeah.
They're obligated to do this.
Yes.
And based on what the imp that they meet, he not really happy doing it. I mean, he asked him, he's like, do you do this? And he smiles happily, but he's like, is there free will? And it gets said. Are the imps have free will? Because they kind of don't if
is
they're
it a
responsible for doing it.
Are they attached to strings?
Yeah.
Within
I was gonna
strings.
say,
Yes, within
but
strings within
that-
strings within strings.
But that ends up the question, like, you see him, he's so sad, like, he doesn't want to do it, but he still does
Right.
it.
Right.
That's why it's like you're saying, he may be attached to
just-
that they can't
So
see.
the creator, the
creator-
the preordainers are preordained to preordain, basically.
Pretty much.
But what I'm saying is
The
that
brain's melting.
what I'm saying is that these imps are not God.
No, they're not.
No.
So
They're not. They're imperfect creatures.
controlled by
my
a
thinking
higher
is
power.
that it isn't, because really, what is the worst thing that can happen to these imps if one of these humans gets off the hook? If they just forget one, maybe every day they just forget, like not every day, but maybe every so often they do forget one.
Well, like
People
I said,
what
just think
happens?
People
but
just
like I
think they're
said,
crazy.
but like I said,
Yeah, maybe that's where the crazy people come from.
maybe.
I don't know. It's possible. I'm just saying that these imps are not perfect.
It's
Wait.
just no, but it's like I said
John.
before.
What?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's like I said before with the whole, bad people running stuff and stuff like so.
Right.
Say one of them gets loose, gets one of the other guy gets. Let's say it kills one of the imps, per se. Then
That's-
that
Yeah,
imp
what if there's an
doesn't-
uprising?
And that's how an uprising starts or something. That could end up being. Then that's how they have a leader, and that they
John.
follow.
That's just getting way too
John,
deep.
you're saying that,
Yeah.
what if
Oh no.
Oh no.
What if Jeff the Killer broke the strings?
We're not. No.
That's why he's
No,
Kill.
that's where we cut
That's
the line.
The ultimate
This
crossover.
story has given us so
He
many
got that
questions,
feeling in
and
his-
it's led us too far.
Jeff
We
got
need
that
to-
feeling in his gut. It was the string being removed.
We're gonna cut the string from
We're
that
gonna cut
story.
the strings
Okay.
up to this
So
conversation.
that conversation will stop.
To be
sorry, I
to be
fucking
fair,
love Jeff
in the
the Killer.
moment when the girl said, I think I'm gonna go to sleep, I wanted him to just be like, go to sleep.
Go to sleep. Stab.
Do it.
Oh man. This was
All right. Well, one more thing to do. I think we've all said our 2 cents.
Oh no!
It's time for only Dylan gets to do this. Time for the Melinda corner.
Melinda scale.
So
Melinda
with Martin,
scale.
and we'll throw in Lucy for good measure. Where do you, on a scale, where do you put them there? How smart are these people?
Past
Come on, Till.
Charles Watts.
Wow.
Past Charles Watts.
Really?
Because there was not like in that situation. Literally, they had nothing else they could do. All they could do was observe, and they weren't in control of it. So they really had not. They had nothing. They couldn't do anything.
I'm going to
pretty much.
strongly disagree with you on this one, and
Please.
I'll tell you why. Lucy, I feel like at the beginning when he's ignoring everything and he's just walking around like, ooh, strings. Way more Melinda than fucking Charles
Well,
Watts.
at the beginning, yes, but then when you think about it, can you really do anything about
But
it?
like this,
and
but
what's
like,
the consequence?
but you suggested before, like, what if he like attacked an imp or took it hostage or like whatever? That would be a more Charles Watts thing to do.
Yeah, but like I the Melinda scale with Charles Watts and Melinda,
That's true.
how stupid a character can be and how smart a character can be. In this situation, you really couldn't. There was no right or wrong. There was nothing you could do.
Okay, no, you're right.
In that,
Okay,
then
I agree
okay,
with
I
that.
kind of redact a bit. I'll put him more towards.
Listen, man,
More
it's your
towards-
scale. If you want to put
More,
him
I'll
over
put,
Charles Watts,
you know what?
be
I
like
said past Charles Watts.
You're our
now
Bob
I'm thinking,
Ross.
now I'm thinking about
You're
it. Let's
shut
put
up.
it more to the middle
It'd be
because
More
you
like
could do the right thing. You could do the right
ABI.
because you could do the right thing,
God damn it.
or you can do the wrong thing. They could. You
Right.
wouldn't. They had no choice.
Right.
You didn't know what they could do.
They had no choice.
They had no choice.
There was the illusion of choice.
No, but in that situation, you could have done the right thing, or you could have done the wrong thing. You don't know what the right thing was, and you didn't know what the wrong thing was. So you couldn't say he was stupid, or you couldn't say he was smart, because you don't know what would have happened.
Here's the thing.
Welcome to Scare Your Friends, the
We're-
deepest fucking
we're all
podcast
like-
on the internet.
Yeah, we're all coming with theory. We're like, oh, I wonder what's going. We'll never know. We will never know.
We're coming up with string theories.
Fucking hate it.
Okay, to end it.
Damn you, string theory!
To end it.
Like,
I
comment,
give-
and subscribe.
Stop, Nate. Jesus.
That's the YouTube imp controlling Nate.
Whatever. Let's just end it like this. 2 thumbs up from me, skillfully. 2 thumbs up. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Still through. Dylan
If
gives
I
2
had,
thumbs
I've had
up.
like 10 thumbs, I'd give 10 thumbs up.
Dylan really likes this story.
Two
like a
thumbs
lot.
up and a bunch of strings for Dylan.
And Nate?
Woo!
Shout out to
No,
Mr. Poopy
no.
Doll.
And rate the story.
I'll
Don't
give
give
it
her
a
shout outs
thumbs
and
up.
shit.
I'm not. You guys are.
He'd give it a like.
You guys are really exaggerating, in my opinion. But I'm just gonna give it a thumbs
Wait,
up.
what? How so?
To this amazing story. Okay, here's again. It's great. It's a great. I like it. I like Smiling Man much better though.
That's fair. Hey.
I think it leaves way too many mysteries for me, and that are never going to be solved. I don't like it though. That's the
That's
thing.
creepy.
That's the thing.
Unfortunately.
That's creepy.
That's not every creepypasta.
It's not like
though.
Smiling Man
I
was
mean,
solved.
This
You
is
don't like-
huge. This is we're talking about string. This is huge. This is something we're talking
right.
about for. This is gonna be a short story.
You don't like it? Get off
We're
the fucking podcast.
We're
I'll
talking
say-
about this
hold
for the
on.
longest time.
Hold on, I will say that Nate is right about that. We stopped reading string theory at the 20. I have the recording line right in front of me. We stopped recording. We read the final sentence of string theory at about the 22-minute mark. We're approaching the 50-minute
Yeah.
mark.
I had a funny feeling
Yeah,
this was
yeah.
going to be one of those where we were going to
So,
talk about it for a
let's
while,
just-
especially once we started the story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think string theory is awesome.
I think we can go for another
No,
4
what
hours.
Now, what is your opinion, Dan?
no,
about
we were talking
just
about
Thumbs
opinions.
up, thumbs down. What?
No, we're
just
saying thumbs up.
thumbs
This
up.
whole ending.
I
Thought it was
didn't-
awesome.
I didn't hear him.
Thought it was
heard
great.
Nate.
I'm just surprised how much Dylan liked it, to be honest.
It really like when you something like that. It really tickled my fancy. What'd you say?
Tickled his brain balls.
When I started seeing the strings, I'm like, oh, okay, this is leading somewhere.
The strings are leading. somewhere.
Literally.
Yeah.
And
What a great way to end it. So this has been Skillfully with my friends Dylan, Daniel, and Nathan on his cell phone.
I don't have a cell phone.
Way to be a dick.
What are you holding then?
That's my
It's
iPod.
his
Oh.
iPod.
Way to be a dick,
John.
John.
I'm not a dick. I thought it was his
Call
phone.
him out on his phone. Come on.
Leave me alone.
No, I'm not calling him out. His
It's
phone.
not a phone.
It's
This has been the
iPod.
Scare Your Friends podcast. Stay awesome and always remember
To like,
to
comment, and subscribe.
And watch out for the strings.
Jesus Christ. And always remember to scare your friends.